Guys, we are starting a little bit early, waiting for you all to join. We're going to get into Charlie Kirk just because this is what is in the news right now. We're going to talk about um, this. The killer has been caught, and we're going to get into the press conference here really, really shortly. Just give me a moment.
Robinson reached out to a family friend who contacted the Washington County Sheriff.
Let me just rewind that for a second. I think it's
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We got him. On the evening of September 11th, a family member of Tyler Robinson reached out to a family friend who contacted the Washington County Sheriff's Office with information that Robinson had confessed to them or implied that he had committed the incident. This information was relayed to the Utah County Sheriff's Office and scene investigators at Utah Valley University. This information was also conveyed to the FBI. Investigators reviewed additional video footage from UVU surveillance and identified Robinson arriving on UVU campus in a gray Dodge Challenger at approximately 8:29 a.m. on September 10th, in which he is observed on video in a plain maroon t-shirt, light-colored shorts, a black hat with a white logo, and light-colored shoes. When encountered in person by investigators in Washington County on September 12th, in the early morning hours, Robinson was observed in consistent clothing with those surveillance images. Investigators interviewed a family member of Robinson who stated that Robinson had become more political in recent years. The family member referenced a recent incident in which Robinson came to dinner prior to September 10th, and in the conversation with another family member, Robinson mentioned Charlie Kirk was coming to UVU. They talked about why they didn't like him and the viewpoints that he had. The family member also stated Kirk was full of hate and spreading hate. The family member also confirmed Robinson had a gray Dodge Challenger. Investigators identified an individual as the roommate of Robinson. Investigators interviewed that roommate, who stated that his roommate, referring to Robinson, made a joke on Discord. Investigators asked if he would show them the messages on Discord. He opened it and showed several messages to investigators and allowed investigators to take photos of the screen as each message was shown by Robinson's roommate. These photos consisted of various messages, including content of messages between the phone contact name Tyler with an emoji icon and Robinson's roommate's device. The content of these messages included messages affiliated with the contact Tyler, stating a need to retrieve a rifle from a drop point, leaving the rifle in a bush, messages related to visually watching the area where a rifle was left, and a message referring to having left the rifle wrapped in a towel. The messages also refer to engraving bullets and a mention of a scope and the rifle being unique. Messages from the contact Tyler also mentioned that he had changed outfits. I know there's been speculation as well as to the writing on those casings, those bullet casings, and I believe we have that as well. And I will. So the area north of Campus Drive Road where the suspect crossed over, you saw some of that in the video that we released last night, consists of a grassy area with trees on the edge of the UVU campus. Investigators discovered a bolt-action rifle wrapped in a dark-colored towel. The rifle was determined to be a Mauser Model 98 30-06 caliber bolt-action rifle. The rifle had a scope mounted on top of it. Investigators noted inscriptions that had been engraved on casings found with the rifle. Inscriptions on a fired casing read, "Notices, bulges, capital OWO, what's this question mark?" Inscriptions on the 3 unfired casings read, "Hey fascist, exclamation point, catch, exclamation point." Up arrow symbol, right arrow and symbol, and 3 down arrow symbols. A second unfired casing read, "Oh Bella Ciao, Bella Ciao, Bella Ciao, Ciao Ciao," and a third unfired casing read, "If you read this, you are gay, LMAO." We are indebted to law enforcement across the state who's worked seamlessly together, local law enforcement, state law enforcement, and our federal partners with the Federal Bureau of Investigation. We're grateful for everyone who worked together in such a short amount of time to find this person and to bring justice. I want to thank the public who has been so engaged, reviewing videos, helping us with sending in tips, and helping us get to this point. I want to thank the family members of Tyler Robinson who did the right thing in this case and were able to bring him into to law enforcement as well. I especially want to thank the family of Charlie Kirk, Erica, Charlie's parents, his children. I want us to be thinking of them as we bring justice in this case. They will be involved in that justice. We will be working very closely with them as we move through this process as well. This is a very sad day for our country, a terrible day for the state of Utah, but I'm grateful that at this moment we have an opportunity to bring closure to this very dark chapter in our nation's history. With that, I will now turn the microphone over to the Director of the FBI, Kash Patel.
Thank you, Governor. This is what happens when you let good cops be cops. The FBI and our partners are proud to stand here today together to bring justice to the family of Charlie Kirk and honor his memory. I want to express my deep gratitude to President Trump, the Vice President, and the entire White House who have been so incredibly supportive with both resources and just personally to the FBI as a team. They had our backs the entire way, and I just want to express my gratitude for giving us the resources we need to operate in this space to bring this sort of justice at this sort of speed. In 33 hours, we have made historic progress for Charlie. Governor Cox, our partnership has been absolutely incredible these last few days. Our partnership will endure. Your state and local partners, your sheriffs, your DPS community has been unbelievably impressive in the hardest of times. And a case like this cannot be solved, cannot be brought without partnering with your state and local authorities. The FBI has a certain role to play, and we will play that role, and we will lead out for the federal government. But Governor Cox, we are so grateful for your state partnership that led out on this investigation. A little bit of the timeline. Charlie was shot at 12:23 p.m. on Wednesday. The first FBI agents arrived on scene in 16 minutes with chiefs of police at 12:39 and secured the scene. The FBI immediately launched fixed-wing assets. We utilized these assets to transport personnel, specialty technicians, hostage rescue teams. We also utilized these assets to go back and forth from the East Coast and here in Utah to transport forensic evidence and other evidence that will be analyzed and is being analyzed at our FBI laboratories in Quantico and other laboratories, including the ATF. At my direction, the FBI released the first set of FBI photos of the suspect at 10 a.m. local time on 9/11. Then, shortly thereafter, the FBI reward of $100,000 was released at 10:45 a.m. local. Myself and Deputy Director Bongino arrived on the scene at approximately 5:30 p.m. on 9/11. The governor led a press conference last night at approximately 8 p.m., where at my direction, the FBI released a never-before-seen video of the suspect. We also released new images to the public of the suspect. And just last night, the suspect was taken into custody at 10 p.m. local time. In less than 36 hours, 33 to be precise, thanks to the full weight of the federal government and leading out with the partners here in the state of Utah and Governor Cox, the suspect was apprehended in a historic time period. And I want to highlight what Governor Cox said. This would not have been possible without you, the media, and you, the public. That's why we went so public, so fast, and we're so transparent, and we're committed to that transparency. The crime scene, just a little bit there. It is a large crime scene. State and local authorities, along with federal authorities, process that crime scene quickly. And I even had the ability to walk through that crime scene and walk through the steps the suspect took to learn more about what was needed and what resources we needed to bear to create a full picture for the FBI and leadership back in Washington. Furthermore, thankfully to state and local partners, forensic evidence has been seized and continues to be garnered. Forensic evidence has already been evaluated at FBI laboratories in Quantico and state and local authorities here. We will continue to process evidence as we see it, as we collect it, and we will continue to deliver to Governor Cox and his team. Last night, we had a total of approximately 7,000 leads. As of this morning, thanks to your great work, we have over 11,000 leads that were called in to the FBI, and we are running out every single lead that we can. Every one of those leads will be run out. The arrest is a testament to the dedication of good law enforcement being great and partnerships in law enforcement, which I've tried to highlight as my tenure as the director of the FBI. There is no better relationship for law enforcement than the FBI to partner with state and local authorities, and you've seen it here in these last few days. The FBI Salt Lake field office, along with our offices in LA, Phoenix, Denver, San Antonio, Las Vegas, Pittsburgh, Buffalo, our headquarters component in Quantico, all participate in the FBI. I want to express my deep gratitude to the employees of the FBI, the men and women, the evidence response team tacticians, the special operators, the agents, the support staff. You have done monumental work in historic time when the public, who had a right to demand such an expeditious solving of an investigation, the FBI answered that call diligently, critically important to our nation, and we delivered. And I'm proud to be their leader, and I'm proud to be the director of the FBI. This is a very much an ongoing investigation, as the governor said, and we will continue to work with state and local authorities to develop the investigation, to provide them the evidence they need for their ongoing prosecutions, and we will be here to answer every call they absolutely have, as long as it takes, for as long as we need to find and apprehend whatever suspects were involved in this crime. Lastly, to my friend Charlie Kirk, rest now, brother. We have the watch, and I'll see you in Valhalla.
Thank you, and good morning. I would just like to take a few minutes as the sheriff to express my gratitude for everybody who has played a part in this investigation. As you know, it's been a vast, a complicated, and a very, very fast-paced investigation. You're looking at people standing up here who are running on, if they got an hour's sleep in the last couple of days, they're probably lucky. It has been very taxing. It has been so impressive, speaking on behalf of the local law enforcement, to see the cooperation that we've seen in this type of case. Across the state, sheriffs, chiefs, our state partners have stepped up and have come to the call on anything that we needed. Our county chiefs have been phenomenal. Our Utah County Attorney, Jeff Gray, who's standing up here with us, has been phenomenal in leading us through this investigation. I would like to thank the federal government for their resources, their assets. Our local team here, our FBI team, has been extraordinary in helping us work through this and bring this person to justice. Most of all, I would like to thank the public, and specifically, I would like to thank the public who turned to prayers and who turned to positiveness for us. I would like to thank them on behalf of the law enforcement community, because we needed those prayers. That's what we needed to get through this. We needed your support, and you gave it to us. We needed your patience, and you gave it to us. And I would like to thank you for the Kirk family, because that's what they need, is your support and your prayers, and that will get us through all of this. So thank you, everybody, for everybody that have stepped up. We've had such a phenomenal response to this. Thank you.
I also want to give a special thanks to the Attorney General and the Department of Justice. Their unwavering support and their commitment to justice is shown true here. And without AG Bondi and Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche and the resources they brought to bear, we would not have been able to complete our mission. And I just want to say special thanks. It's an honor to be a part of the Department of Justice.
Thank you again to our incredible law enforcement team who has worked so hard. Sheriff, I got a solid 90 minutes last night, so I'm probably the most well-rested person up here. Ladies and gentlemen, I get the microphone, so I hope you'll permit me a moment just to share a few more thoughts about where we are and how we got here and maybe a little bit of where we go from here. I don't want to get too preachy, but I think it's important that we, with eyes wide open, understand what's happening in our country today. I've heard people say, well, why are we so invested in this? There's violence happening all across our country. And violence is tragic everywhere, and every life taken is a child of God who deserves our love and respect and dignity. This is certainly about the tragic death, political assassination of Charlie Kirk, but it is also much bigger than an attack on an individual. It is an attack on all of us. It is an attack on the American experiment. It is an attack on our ideals. This cuts to the very foundation of who we are, of who we have been, and who we could be in better times. Political violence is different than any other type of violence for lots of different reasons. One, because in the very act that Charlie championed of expression, that freedom of expression that is enshrined in our founding documents, in having his life taken in that very act, makes it more difficult for people to feel like they can share their ideas, that they can speak freely. We will never be able to solve all the other problems, including the violence problems that people are worried about, if we can't have a clash of ideas safely and securely. Even, especially those ideas with which you disagree. That's why this matters so much. Over the last 48 hours, I have been as angry as I have ever been, as sad as I have ever been. And it was, as anger pushed me to the brink, it was actually Charlie's words that pulled me back. I'd like to share some of those. And specifically right now, if I could, I need to talk to the young people in our state, in my state, and all across the country. As President Trump reminded me, he said, you know who really loved Charlie? The youths. And he's right. Young people loved Charlie, and young people hated Charlie. And Charlie went into those places anyway. And these are the words that have helped me. Charlie said, when people stop talking, that's when you get violence. He said, the weak can never forgive. Forgiveness is the attribute of the strong. The only way out of the labyrinth of suffering is to forgive. Welcome without judgment, love without condition, forgive without limit. He said, always forgive your enemies. Nothing annoys them so much. A few months ago, I referenced this last night, Charlie posted to social media, when things are moving very fast and people are losing their minds, it's important to stay grounded. Turn off your phone, read scripture, spend time with friends, and remember, internet fury is not real life. It's going to be okay. He again said, when you stop having a human connection with someone you disagree with, it becomes a lot easier to commit violence. He said, what we as a culture have to get back to is being able to have a reasonable agreement, where violence is not an option. Now, again, to my young friends out there, you are inheriting a country where politics feels like rage. It feels like rage is the only option. But through those words, we have a reminder that we can choose a different path. Your generation has an opportunity to build a culture that is very different than what we are suffering through right now. Not by pretending differences don't matter, but by embracing our differences and having those hard conversations. I think we need more moral clarity right now. I hear all the time that words are violence. Words are not violence. Violence is violence. And there is one person responsible for what happened here. And that person is now in custody and will be charged soon and will be held accountable. And yet all of us have an opportunity right now to do something different. I want to thank my fellow Utahns. This bad stuff happens. For 33 hours, I was praying that if this had to happen here, that it wouldn't be one of us, that somebody drove from another state, somebody came from another country. Sadly, that prayer was not answered the way I had hoped for, just because I thought it would make it easier on us if we could just say,
I don't know, y'all, but wasn't that kind of weird? He said that if it happened, let it not be one of them. I'm sorry, that's just weird as hell to even say.
hey, we don't do that here. And indeed, Utah is a special place. We lead the nation in charitable giving. We lead the nation in service every year. But it did happen here. And it was one of us. But
that's kind of a messed up way of thinking. It was one of us. Like, doesn't that kind of speak to the character of the person? Who in the hell says if it has, dear Lord, if it has to happen, don't let it be one of us? That's weird as hell. Like, everything was going good until he said that. Don't let it be one of us. He could have left that part out. But I guess when people open their mouth, they tell about who they really are.
I want you to look at how Utahns reacted the last two nights. There was no,
and here's my thing. My condolences to his family. And in all honesty, I did not know who this man was. I mean, now that I'm seeing, I remember him. The rhetoric that he was spewing out, right. We live in a world where it's freedom of speech. But if I am, sending hate out my mouth every time I open it, the Bible says you live by the sword, you die by it. Now, you don't necessarily have to be out here committing crimes to be doing stuff that's wrong. This man was saying some really, crazy stuff out his mouth. Now, I'm not saying, that he deserved what he got. But what I'm saying is, when you open up Pandora's box and you are, you're spewing stuff out, you gonna make some crazy person lose it.
no rioting. There's no looting. There were no cars set on fire. There's no violence. There were vigils and prayers and people coming together.
Right, guys. And we're going to get to that part because, he said in his, news conference, let it not be one of us. I don't know if y'all been over there on TikTok, honey, but they've been threatening. Now, I'm not saying him per se, but MAGA, we're just going to say MAGA, I guess, has been threatening all of the HBCUs, Howard, a list of them. And I'm not sure why everybody is being targeted. Why the Black people get targeted? I mean, the person that did it was not Black. And they have known about this since the shooting. Like, they didn't know who the guy's, like, his name, but they had, you know, pictures and stuff that they knew that it wasn't a Black person. But yet they have been threatening the HBCUs.
Together to share the humanity. And that, ladies and gentlemen, I believe is the answer to this. We can return violence with violence. We can return hate with hate. And that's the problem with political violence, is it metastasizes, because we can always point the finger at the other side. And at some point, we have to find an off-ramp, or it's going to get much, much worse. But see, these are choices that we can make. History will dictate if this is a turning point for our country. But every single one of us gets to choose right now if this is a turning point for us. We get to make decisions. We have our agency. And I desperately call on every American, Republican, Democrat, liberal, progressive, conservative, MAGA, all of us to please, please, please follow what Charlie taught me. I'll just conclude with with words I share often from a friend and author, 𝐬𝐻 𝐫𝐞𝐿, who was asked if he was optimistic about our country, and he said, "I'm not optimistic." He said, "I hate optimism." God, that sounds bad. But he said, optimism is a vice. It's this idea that good things are just going to happen. And he said, in the history of the world, good things have never just happened. He says, I'm not optimistic, but I am hopeful. And hope is the virtue that sits between the vices of optimism and pessimism. Hope is the idea that good things are going to happen because we can make them so. I still believe in our country. And I know Charlie Kirk believed in our country. I still believe that there is more good among us than evil. And I still believe that we can change the course of history. I'm hopeful because Americans can make it so. Ladies and gentlemen, we're happy to answer any questions you might have.
Governor, please speak to whether the suspect is speaking with authorities and his demeanor, Tyler Robinson, when he turned himself in.
I cannot speak to that right now.
Governor, how do you interpret his motivation? How do you interpret the case?
Well, I will leave that up to you to interpret what those engravings mean. I think the clearest one that says "catch fascist," there's not, and by the way, that's like catch like a ball, catch this. That's I think that speaks for itself.
Governor, you indicated that he had been communicating. Please. This letter of Keysha that was expressed. Beyond that, is there anything in review that you discovered that may have radicalized or changed him or prompted to commit such a horrific?
There's nothing more that we can share at this time.
Governor, you indicated that you have been communicating with a friend on Discord about the gun. Do you anticipate any more arrests?
We do not at this time have any information that would lead to any additional arrests.
Do you believe you acted alone?
Yes, but the investigation is ongoing.
Can you detail it all? Can you detail it all? How he came into custody of police and where he is right now?
Yes, so right now, Mr. Robinson has been booked into the Utah County Jail. You heard the president this morning report that he was taken into custody, that his family and a friend helped to deliver him into custody of law enforcement in Washington County. For those of you that don't know where Washington County is, it is the southwesternmost part of the state of Utah. It's about a 3.5 to 4 hour drive from here, where we are right now, and that's where he lived and where they turned him in. Please, I'll go here. I can't share any more than what I've already shared. Yeah. So how we obtained the gun was found here. So I don't have much more details on that. We do know that that he drove. We had his car here on campus, and then we had his car going south back to the St. George. It's actually the city of Washington in Washington County.
Is he talking with authorities, and did he discuss a motive?
I'm sorry. We don't have any information that would lead us to believe that. Yes, in fact, it was just released. Yes.
Talking with authorities, and did he discuss a motive?
I can't answer that right now. Yeah, thank you. Over here. I absolutely believe that this is a watershed in American history. Yes. The question is, what kind of watershed? And
Right, y'all. Reading the comments. Return hate with hate to who? The suspect is local. Leave everyone else alone. Okay, they making this as if it's something that it's not. Like, this is white on white crime. Y'all deal with it. We ain't got nothing to do with this.
that chapter remains to be written. Is this the end of a dark chapter in our history, or the beginning of a darker chapter in our history? Look, I mean, if you look at true political assassinations in this country of someone of this stature, this feels a lot like the late 60s. And having one so gruesomely displayed on camera in all of our hands and in all of our pockets, we are not wired as human beings biologically, historically. We have not evolved in a way that we are capable of processing those types of violent imagery. And by the way, we've seen another one with a gruesome stabbing very recently that went viral. This is not good for us. It is not good to consume. Social media is a cancer on our society right now. And I would encourage, again, I would encourage people to log off, turn off, touch grass, hug a family member, go out and do good in your community. That is happening, and it's happening organically right now. I had a friend in a small city in Utah who said, we're getting together. The Republicans and Democrats in my little town are getting together to have a discussion tonight. Last night, just to find a way to find their better angels. So yes, this could be. I mean, you know, again, you have to go back to JFK to have seen a video live of something like this happening. I wasn't born until 1975, but I know that things were really dark in the late 60s. Sorry to some of you. I know some of you were there, but this is our moment. Do we escalate, or do we find an off-ramp? And again, it's a choice. It's a choice, and every one of us gets to make that choice. Two more questions right here.
Could we clarify that the release of those constantly at 8 p.m. the timeline that Director Patel gave us led to the arrest at 10 p.m.? Is there a direct connection between those two events?
I cannot comment if there is a direct connection or not, but all I can say is that that through some process, the family came to know that this had happened.
One more thing, Governor. Clarify the clothing and was he changing outfits?
Correct. Yes. So when he's first spotted on campus, he has different clothing on, and then he changes clothing on the roof, and then changed back into that clothing at some point, so that when he was apprehended, when he was arrested, the clothing matched the clothing he had on before the shooting here at UVU. Last question here. Yes.
Suspect was Russian. Can you kind of tell us a little bit more about where, and was he a student here at this university, and is there any history of mental illness?
Yeah. So I don't have any information on the mental illness part. He was not a student here at UVU. He was living and had lived for a long time with his family in Washington County, in the southernmost part of our state.
Okay, y'all. So let's have a little history lesson on who this man is. And I'm going to be honest. Like I said, I didn't know who he was, but after going back looking, I was like, okay, that's the man that used to be saying all the crazy stuff. Because in all honesty, when I see the crap, I just don't even look at it. Shawnee said, hey, y'all, I'm sorry. It's unfortunate the man lost his life, but he was straight KKK member, and I didn't know anything about him but seeing the hate he spat against people who look like me is crazy. And I have to agree. That's what I said. I saw him and I would like not watch it. So let's get into who he is. Charles James Kirk. He was born in 1993. Oh, wow. He looks old. He was born in 1993. Oh my gosh. I would have thought he was in his 50s. Oh, wow. Whoa. Okay. He was an American right wing conservative political commentator, author, and media personality. He co founded the organization Turning Point in 2012 and was its executive director. He was the chief executive officer of Turning Point Action and a member of the Council for National Policy, yada, yada, yada. So he was a right wing. And let's kind of like, there are so many videos out there about him. And when I saw all of this stuff, I was like, oh my God, why are we even talking about this man? Because, hey, I'm just here to talk about the news. But listen, I don't wish death on anybody, but my day is going great. It's going to go great. And we just really talking about the news. You know, this guy seems to be the type of person that spewed a lot of hate. And now, because he talked about black people so bad, they want to say a black person did something to him. And it had nothing to do with anybody that was black. All right, let's get into this video.
Charlie Kirk got pew-pew. This is not our fight. They literally kill us for less. Do not get on here talking about, and no, just because you don't agree with somebody politically means that. Stop it. Because I've already started seeing it. Stop. Let the white folks deal with that shit. It was a white-on-white crime. This is not our time to be black saviors to these motherfucking devils. Fuck.
I don't know about y'all, but hey, like I said, we just talking about the news. Hey, it ain't our problem. It is definitely not our problem. But another thing I wanted to get into with y'all, did you guys hear about this? Now, remember I was saying that he said so many bad and horrible things about black people, people, anybody but, but the whites, okay? That they assume that, this was a black person that did this, which is so crazy because even after this man was unalived or killed or whatever y'all want to call it, they had video of it, but they just never knew what he looked like. Now, because of that, y'all, they have been calling in all sorts of bomb threats to HBCUs. What does the historically black college university have to do with this?
Update to the Bethune-Cookman story. So apparently over 6 historically HBCU colleges have been targeted with terrorism or threats of terrorism. Alabama State University, Virginia State University, Hampton University, also Virginia Southern University, also Bethune-Cookman University, Clark Atlanta University, also. Numerous universities, as mentioned before, are placed on lockdown due to active threats. Authorities aren't releasing exactly what threats they're looking for, but I know in Daytona Beach, Bethune-Cookman is on a full-scale lockdown. Authorities are going room to room, dorm to dorm, searching the entire campus, as well as they have bomb-sniffing dogs en route to the campus, so that could be another threat that was placed on the campus. As of right now, 2:55 p.m., Bethune-Cookman is still on an active lockdown with police having the entire campus surrounded and not letting anyone in or out of the campus. If I hear anything else, I'll let you know. This is truly tragic times. Once again, this is an act of terrorism. This is not funny at all, nor should it be taken lightly.
So y'all heard that they have all of these HBCUs on lockdown for what? What in the hell does this need to do or have? What do this got to do with black people? A lot of black people don't even know who the hell he is. So I'm just like, when you say you know, you're giving these great speeches. What the hell are you talking about? We don't even know who this MFer is. Like I said, I saw his picture before, but I really didn't know who this man was, because, they're always on the internet with all of this. You see so much racism now, being that everybody's on the internet. When I start seeing a lot of it, I just won't even watch it. So, like I said, I didn't even know who the hell this man was. Didn't know who he was at all. But it seems like he wasn't a nice person. I'm looking for some clips here, because there's a lot of clips that he went to different schools. Let's get into this one right here, y'all. All right, let's get into this one. It's just, this man is, sorry he had to lose his life, but it doesn't seem like he was a really good person either. All right, let's get into this one.
Just black people on Earth?
What statistic
Africa.
is that?
Do you know black Americans are the richest black people on Earth?
What statistic
Africa.
is that? Okay, I need you to pull that up like right
Fine.
now.
You can. Black Americans on per capita on average.
Can you pull that up?
I mean, I'm hosting an event right now. I don't know what to tell you, but
Well,
anyone
I'm
can
participating.
anyone can fact check me on this. So you cannot find a black majority country or any country where black people have significant representation where they are as wealthy, because even the poorest people in America are in the top 5%, the top 2% of wealth around the world. And so my whole belief is stop acting like you're a victim and start making better choices.
Oh my gosh. Stop acting like a victim and make better choices. Okay, I see what these people talking about. See, stop acting like a victim and make better choices.
Like a victim, bro.
Respect.
This is not a victim mentality.
No, it fundamentally is, because white people are not out to get you. There's nothing. There is nothing holding black people back. Let me say that again. There is nothing holding black people back. In fact, the opposite. You can get into colleges with lower test scores. You could say things.
Huh? You can get into what college with lower test? You can get into what college with lower test scores? Oh my gosh. Unfortunately, yeah, he seems to be everything that they, said that he was. Unfortunately, now it's white on white crime. Even his own people didn't like him, because this don't have nothing to do with us. I'm having a good Friday. I'm gonna continue to have a great weekend, and my condolences to his family. But this ain't got shit to do with us. What y'all saying in the chat? What are y'all saying in the chat? She said, "What's the link?" I'm about to give it to you. He said, just give me a second. Let me get the link for you, because this ain't got nothing to do with us. This is some BS. Okay, I'm gonna put the link in the chat for you. There you go. If you want to come up, come right on up. Whew, this is too much, honey. They done targeted black people for something some white person did. Whew. Somebody said he looked slow in the eyes. I thought this guy was at least at least 50. This man was born in 1993. That makes him 31 or something. Damn. Definitely wasn't aging gracefully. No aging gracefully here. But I was able to find a bunch of, listen to this one, y'all. Because they, let's get into this one. Because they said that he was saying that people are going to have to be sacrificed, for gun laws. Now, Uncle Charles, I did put the link in there. Do you see it? I did put it in there if you want to click on it. Well, y'all get into this right here. Let's see what he had to say about the gun laws. All right, somebody. Okay, I'm going to bring you. Okay, just 1 second. Just 1 second here. I want to play this clip here where he's talking about gun laws.
Thoughts on if we need more gun control in the country or not? I'm very pro protecting America and the citizens that live in it. And so I think that we should have more gun control because there's a lot of school shootings that happen, as we mentioned. And, you know, I just think it would do a lot to protect people. And I think the Second Amendment also qualifies that we should have regulations for guns. I want to know your thoughts on that.
Sure. Do you think gun ownership is a right or a privilege?
I think it's a right, but it comes with responsibilities.
Okay, tell me more.
Well, I think that there should be things in place, you know, things like red flag laws and things like that. You know, the AG just approved Mel Gibson to get his gun rights back, even though he had a domestic violence charge. So, you know, I don't think the people that commit these violent crimes should be able to buy guns and things like that. And I think we should have red flag laws in place to make sure that those violent criminals aren't getting guns. And also, you know, putting in place things like a federal registry so that we know, you know, the types of guns that people have. And, you know, it would just essentially be a federal registry that shows these are the guns that this person has, you know, in case a cop has to go on something like a domestic call.
What would you say is the ultimate and final purpose of the Second Amendment?
I think it's self-defense against a tyrannical government, which
we agree. Sure, great. Keep going.
Well, but I think within the Second Amendment, it also implies that we have high regulations in the first 4 words.
Sort of.
Of
Well-regulated militia
right.
actually meant well-armed, but that's a separate issue. But like,
well, how do you know? You're interpreting what the founding fathers.
Well,
put
they
in.
said it in the Federalist Papers, right? So it's not just me, but also in the Heller decision, in the 5-4 decision, that said that gun ownership was a right. This was a hotly debated thing.
But do you disagree? Do you like disagree with the idea of like a federal registry like
Oh,
that?
without a doubt. The
You
only
do?
reason you'd want to register the guns is if you want to confiscate them.
Well, or to make sure that people like officers of the law are protected and know what they're going into.
We'll try to make a better argument where the problem of the government knowing where every gun is would then lead itself towards mass confiscation. And I would agree with you, a well-armed citizenry is the greatest protectorate of liberty and freedom in this country.
Even though the Army has things like drones and tanks and things like that that outarm, you know, citizens that have
yes and no.
just a
I mean,
handgun.
we've seen it in several instances where at least a citizen, that's a good argument, but I would say a little flawed, where the citizens are able to protect themselves in some ways. It's a much harder population to control.
I understand, but so you think a federal registry would infringe on the rights?
Potentially. I mean, I think that there's no good argument, I think, other than potential. I ascribe to the government bad motives and bad intentions when it wants to infringe more on these types of freedoms and liberties.
Well, I understand. I just personally don't see it as an infringement because, you know, like we just said, and I think we agreed that owning a gun is a right. However,
Yes.
I think it was responsibilities. But also I wanted to ask, is voting a right or is that a privilege?
Well, it is a right, and that's so felons can get their rights back, right? And so,
Right.
but rights can be suspended or delayed, and
Right,
we both agree
but-
with that. So,
right,
for
but-
example, like somebody in prison doesn't get guns.
Right. No, of course.
Somebody in prison doesn't have the same free speech rights that you
Right,
might have.
but what's the first thing that you have to do if you want to vote in this country? You have to register. So I just had a question on.
Okay, so we have a few people here. How are you, Charles and Smart Cookie? I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing fine. I just wanted to make a quick comment, ma'am.
Sure.
They call me Uncle Charles. So I go around to different shows and just give my opinion. Let me
Okay.
explain something to you.
Sure.
When your chickens leave your barnyard,
Mm-hmm.
be prepared for your chickens to show back up in your barnyard. He
Mhm.
thought he was safe amongst his people.
Right.
But who shot him? A
Right.
person that looked like him.
Exactly.
That's who shot him.
Right.
See, he said that black people are victims. You mean to tell me we victims like the Unabomber? Was those people victims? How about the
Mhm.
Oklahoma City bomber? Was
Right.
those victims? What about Jeffrey Dahmer? Jeffrey Dahmer was eating eating black brothers and Latino brothers. Nobody had nothing to say. But when he
Right.
started eating white folks, that's
Right.
when they had to stop him. This
Right.
is what I'm talking about. When your
Right.
his chickens came home to roost.
Right.
You cannot make a statement and say black people are weak-minded
Mhm.
when it's more of us, just as many as you.
Right.
Who gave you? You dropped out of college. Who gave you that job to analyze us in
Right.
the first place? See, the person that shot you is the person that looked like you because
Right.
you was comfortable around your people. And look what they did.
Right.
See, you kill where you live. It's what it
Right.
is.
That's how it goes. Yes.
That's how it
That's
goes.
how it goes.
Nobody, like I said, people don't leave home and they get killed. They get killed by or somebody black or white. People get
Right.
killed by anybody.
Right.
And that's the way it is. And
Right.
me personally, my condolences to his kids. I feel
Right.
sorry for his children
Right.
because they don't have their dad. No
Right.
matter whether he was like that or not. Like I said, when Martin Luther King went out, he said, I have a dream. And then he come right back and said, my dream is an American nightmare
Mhm.
because he found out that all what he did was for nothing.
Mhm.
This is what it is. This is what it is. So I'm happy he dead. No, I'm not. I don't wish death on nobody.
Right.
No one. Because those kids had a daddy. The thing is that when your chicken leave your barnyard, be prepared for them to come back.
That's
and that's
right.
all I got. That's all I
Right.
got to say. And I appreciate it.
Thank you for coming up. Have a great day.
Thank you.
And that's right, because everything he put out in the universe circled back to him, which is really crazy because you thought you were safe talking about everybody else, and look what happened to you. Yeah.
Hi, Lakeysha.
Hey.
Hey, so what I wanted to say about this guy is kind of like what you said earlier. I did not know him by name, but once they showed his face, I knew
Right.
exactly who he was. I remember seeing clips of him, going around on these college tours, challenging people just randomly on the street, saying all of this stuff that was not true and very ignorant. He was
Right.
going around to those college campuses because he was recruiting. He was recruiting young white males to think like he thinks. That's
Yep.
my opinion. He was recruiting them to think like he thinks so that they could have more people that felt the way that he felt. There's also a clip going around where he was also talking about these pow pows and how he felt that it was very necessary for pow pow violence or pow pow expiring every year. He said this verbatim. He felt that it was important for so many of those type of expirations to go around. Another thing, our people do not have a history of sniping. That's not something that we
Yeah.
do. There's only been one time in my lifetime when back in DC, back in the 90s, where the lead boy, the guy and his stepson, they were doing some pow pow and they weren't even FBA. They were actually Jamaican. So we don't have a history of black on white violence
Right.
or sniping or
Right.
all this going into these schools doing these terroristic stuff. That's not our thing. Lastly, what I would like to say about this man is Lillian in the comments said he lived by the pow pow, and guess what? And God sent him right on out of here by it too.
By it.
I'm happy for his children. They didn't need him as a father. We don't need people like this in our country. And I'm also disgusted with that press conference. That press conference was nothing but hate. And we could read in between the lines and hear exactly what they were saying when they were saying, "Oh, I just hated so much it was one of us." They weren't talking about the people from DC.
Right.
That is not
Exactly.
who they were
That's
talking
not
about.
who they were talking about. I said, did he really say that? Like, that is just like, who says that? Like, I'm like, you can kind of tell the type of people these are, that you would get your tail up there and say, I prayed and asked God, just if it's going to happen, let it not be one of us.
And he said it on national TV and he showed his hand, which is something that we as FBA people, we have always known who these people are. No matter, what they do or what they give others, we know how they operate and how they move. And that's all that I want to say. It was just, I wanted to come up here and just express myself. And I'm also angry that his father turned him in,
No, I wouldn't have never did that.
I would have never done that. My children, I would advise them to do the right thing. But honey, we would have went on the glory, and this would have been a secret that we would have took to our grave.
Baby, we would have moved to another country. I ain't finna lie. I'm just finna be honest. I mean,
my child, anybody come out of my body? No, ma'am. No, indeed not. That's how thick my loyalty runs with my children. I will always teach my children the right thing to do.
Right.
But I'm never going to pick up a phone call and turn mine in.
Right. Because I also think that, so I think this was very different. I think this man was spewing hate and it came back to bite him in his ass. Like, this isn't just, somebody went to a grocery store and somebody just took him out. His mouth, you know what I mean? And then look, did y'all see this video? Now, this is a video that everybody, I think this may be the one that you're talking about. Get into this one right here.
Hey, Lakeysha.
Hey,
I think it's worth. I think it's
listen
worth
to this.
I think it's worth to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year, so that we can
Y'all heard that? It's okay
Yes,
to
that
have
is
some
the
gun
video.
deaths.
That's the video that I'm referring to. And
I
see,
think
and
it's
now
worth
he
the
had to eat
cost.
those words.
Right. I mean, it's okay. Somebody is going to have to die, but it's okay because guess what? He didn't never think that it was going to be him. He didn't think it was going to be him.
Nope.
Well, also, he made some disparaging comments about Martin Luther King that I did my research about. And he said that Martin Luther King was awful and the Civil Rights Act of, I believe, 1964, 1965 was bad. And once he said that, I checked out. So all these people on my Instagram, social media that were defending him, talking about he was a father, I said, I'm not having it. I don't give a damn. We play too nice with white people for a
Right. We
long
do.
time. And I'm
We do.
having no mercy when they pass
Right.
on from
Right.
being stupid.
Well, he said George Floyd, that the police having his knee on his neck, that didn't kill him. He was a drug user. Now, this is what this man said about George Floyd. He had children too. So listen, I'm gonna be honest. I feel sorry for his kids, but this ain't in no way gonna impact my damn day. I feel like you live by the sword, you died by the sword. So going out committing actual crimes and you dying, you can be running your mouth and saying stuff and somebody they gonna get enough of it. Now, sorry it happened to you, but it ain't finna impact my day in no way. This they problem. This is
Honestly,
Well,
Lakeysha,
white
the
on
nail,
white crime.
well, the
honestly, his
nail in the
kids and his
coffin.
wife are in a better position. They don't have to deal with the shame of having him for a father and a husband.
Well, I think that, unfortunately, to get to your point, I think that these white women support these men like that. Like
Right.
we've seen them come out in droves and vote for Trump. Like they are having some type of Stockholm syndrome right now. And I honestly think we're thinking from a black or like a more liberal state of mind, but they are like stuck in this crazy mindset too. And also, he was a gun supporter. So,
Right.
if you're a gun supporter and then you end up getting assassinated, I don't know what to tell you because you're
Well, he
speaking on the
said
very thing.
in this clip right here, he said that people are gonna have to die. This clip right here. Here, let
But
me play it.
why?
Let me play it right fast. Listen to this, y'all.
I think it's worth to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year so that we can have the Second Amendment to protect our other God-given rights. That is a prudent deal. It is rational. I think it's worth it.
Okay, so y'all heard him. He said, listen, it's gonna have to be some gun deaths. And yes, you died. So I bet you somewhere in hell, playing this in your mind because you said this. See, what he means by this is, the black folks, yep, y'all gonna die. It's okay, but it ain't just the black folks that's dying here.
Why are they treating him like he's some type of martyr? Why are they giving him awards and things that they haven't given to people that have fought in wars?
And that is
Why
Well,
are they flying the flags at half staff for this man?
let me tell you something. They did a panel in this one of the biggest forums for Europe, and let me tell you, the Europeans are sick of white Americans too. They said, "Let me get a moment of silence." They all started rumbling on the tables, and they all started screaming, and it was like they were trolling him. You know what I'm saying? So I was having this discussion yesterday with some of my followers on my social media about how white Americans are just very delusional. Like I was talking about, these are the same people that talked about manifest destiny, how it was their God-given right to take over indigenous land. But whenever anything happens to them, everybody's supposed to have compassion for them. When it's us doing it, it's black on black crime. The person who is held as a suspect is white, but nobody's screaming white on white crime. So
No.
they have a double standard when it comes down to everything.
Yes.
And now I've gotten to a point where I troll them at every single opportunity because I'm not here for it no more.
Oh,
They
me
are
too.
blatantly racist, and these
Yes.
people are running around with American flags. And I'm like, you guys got to be careful with this type of narrative that you're putting out there.
And you know what's so frustrating too? When you see black people, I have to hurry up and get off of their pages because sometimes I write some stuff and delete it because they are so freaking embarrassing the way they carry on and kiss up to these white folks that don't give a damn. Your child could get pew pew, and they wouldn't give a damn. And you
Right.
running around here doing videos about this man, like, I
Yeah, like
mean,
Dr. Umar Johnson, it wasn't white people contributing to his Marcus Garvey, Frederick Douglass schools. The nerve of him to now start cooning because he, didn't get what he wanted. He can't get anything else about the black community.
Well, I think he's a special case because we just know how the internet operates. Once you do anything or you're like a public figure, the internet can turn on you very quick. So when his school wasn't up and operating and he wasn't doing what he needed to do, plus he had that expose about his child that I think he wasn't taking care of, or somebody who claimed they were his like he was the father or something like that. He just turned on the black community. So I think you have to understand he is just a little on some other wave. But I've been on my Malcolm X stuff. Like, I don't care. I've been trolling them and talking about them all day because we've had people that have been pow that were public figures like Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, lots of other people. It's time they start experiencing it so they can see the ramifications of the stuff that they put out there and see that they are not. And the funny thing about it is there are a lot of white liberals that are tired of their ish too. So I'm excited.
Yeah, and then the guy that was holding the press conference said something about the 1960s. And as you mentioned, Medgar Evers was one of those people, Emmett Till. Like, what about those people when they lost their life? And it wasn't because they were going around teaching other black people to rise up and hate white people. And that's exactly what this man was running around here teaching.
There's a video where he said black women don't have a brain. I just brought up. So he just did a
I saw
lot
that
of
he was talking about Nicki Minaj or something. He said she was a bad role model for black women. He was a troll.
She's not anybody's role model though. She's knowing what, her job. She's nobody's role model. I mean, if you like Nicki and but that woman is doing a job. They're
She is an entertainer.
right.
And like Malcolm X said, our entertainers are not our leaders.
Right.
But to get to your point, the smart cookie, there was an actual program. I was reading this while I was away. There was a program called COINTELPRO by the CIA that went after all these black leaders. So now that they are coming home, the chickens are coming home to roost, I do not care. You're going to see more white extremists, being taken away. Trump is almost 80 years old. I'm hoping that he passes on. And a lot is going to go down. But, evil always has something that's going to come against it. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, you have a lot of white liberal. I'm in New York City, you guys. So when I talk about white America, we all know, like the white people here know that we talking about the red state white people, the crazy pro-Trump ones. They're sick and tired too because they're embarrassed. You know what I'm saying? So you're going to see a shift. And unfortunately, they don't have enough security. They're going to you're going to these events and you're just a content creator and you don't have no type of security and you're spewing out vitriol. That's crazy.
That's crazy. And even like you said, a lot of those people that supported Trump, they are slowly leaving. Marjorie Taylor Greene, her big mouth tail, she done left because she said, oh, wait a minute, this is not what I thought. Yeah, because it's racist. And not only is it racist toward the black people, they don't give a damn about women.
They don't.
They don't give a damn about women. Marjorie was like, wait a minute. I see there's a difference in how they treat women. Well, Trump, they say he allegedly cheated on all his wives and, these, so it's
well, remember
who Trump was when he said, grab him by the PUS.
Well, on top of that, remember Omarosa exposed them in the situation room where she actually snuck a phone in there and she was going to do that tell-all book. So remember when white women were attacking her saying that, oh, why would you bring a cell phone in the situation room? She got them right on together. Y'all could say many things about Omarosa, but she's a smart cookie. She said, I have evidence because if I didn't have it, you guys would be saying that I'm a liar.
Right. And they would.
So everybody thinks that they have a seat at the table until they turn on you. And that's why I laugh at people like Amber Rose and Ray J and all these people. They are hee and ha and with you while you're wearing your Make America Great Again hat as a black person, but then when you leave the room, they're calling you all types of N-words. It's no secret.
Yeah.
Have y'all seen any videos of any white people dividing themselves from this guy and saying that this guy, what he did was wrong? Or what
I
he
see a lot of, from my timeline, because I lived in Hawaii where a lot of military people, a lot of them are super quiet. And I think a lot of them are super quiet because they don't know what to say. It's secondhand embarrassment. Like Lakeysha was saying, you're seeing a shift. I have been unapologetic because I've seen a singer go, they shared a video. His family went on the news or something like that, and the news were like commemorating him or something like that. I was like, this is a joke. And then you had people that I was following. The strange part is I lived abroad, so you have people around the world talking about this. They are trying to come from but it's not right. And I'm like, you guys do not understand. This man was promoting violence and guns. He was promoting, it's not like we're talking about Mother Teresa or somebody who was about peace or who was just explaining his views and just keeping it on his views. He was attacking people. I was like, if you guys do not live here, just keep your mouth shut. Because you look dumb and stupid entertaining and defending someone who would want you dead. And there was gay people defending. It was a mess.
What?
That's all I gotta say.
Defending him?
In other countries, there's some men calling themselves gay conservatives, which is extremely confusing. I just think
you said it's extremely confusing.
Yeah.
That's an oxymoron.
I just can't do it. But it's just like the white women who are Republicans too. It's like they think they got a seat at the table, and then when somebody R-words you, and then you need an abortion or you need some type of reproductive surgery, and your ass lives in Texas or Georgia or something, we told you so. So that's where I'm at. I'm like, I'm sick of them. I've been airing them out. I've been unapologetic. Unfollow me. Do what you got to do. I don't care.
Right. And it's just typical that they want Black people to be so sympathetic. Listen, again, like I said, unfortunately, his children don't have a father, but you think about, his wife that's married to him. Girl, you knew what this man was doing. Oh, but it was okay because it wasn't affecting you and your family, but it affects it now, So it's like,
well,
hey.
I think from her end, the money was rolling in, and she was just jumping on board with that, and she didn't really think of the risk assessment. And I'm like, in America, I say this all the time. A lot of people have told me I should have gotten to political science because of my views, but if you become a really big figure, you have a target on your head, whether you're on the right or the left. We saw what happened to Martin Luther King. We saw what happened to Malcolm X. A lot of different people. So he should have known this. You know what I'm saying? Like, snipers are not a new thing, So I just think she was ignorant. And I can't really extend sympathy to her family because what if her family thought the same way as him?
Right. I mean, listen, that is pretty typical that's what they normally do. So it's like them people don't give a damn about us. They think we trash. And you want me to conjure up some damn sympathy? I mean, I hate that it happened, but my day's still gonna be good.
Yes, indeed. Lakeysha, you were telling the truth. And even during COVID, this is the strangest thing that happened. They found a Black man lynched in a tree in a park in New York. That does not happen in New York. You know what I'm saying? So in this modern day age, let me tell you guys, I am not with them in any front, because at the end of the day, they look at us like animals. Mm-hmm. And I made a dissertation on my little IG post yesterday. I was like, if you ask people around the world about American culture, what is it? There is no such thing as American culture. There's Europeans, Africans, and indigenous people here. And everything that everybody looks around the world to is Black culture. That's all what people care about. With y'all have stole stuff from people. Y'all have taken people out of here. Y'all have stolen people's land, manifest destiny, and you guys enslave people. Now that you have Trump in office, the whole world is seeing America as a joke. Mm-hmm. The whole world is laughing at us and like, oh my God, we thought they were a first world country. European Union right now, they are looking at us like a big joke. Mm-hmm. And I think it's all white America's fault, and they are reaping what they sow.
Right.
They
Yeah.
will never see us as equals. You know, they will never look at
Never.
us. This country will never be that melting pot as long as we
No.
have people like him going around teaching others.
Right.
Because, you know, hate is something that's taught. But that's it for me, Lakeysha. I want to thank you as usual for
Okay.
bringing me up. And also, I want to thank you for having a variety of topics. I love this.
I'm
And
trying to do better.
I'm going to get down there. I'm going to get down in
Yeah.
the comments.
Okay. Thank you
so much.
All right. See you later. What up, Kyle?
Oh, what's up? What's up? How you doing, Lakeysha?
I'm doing good. So no, I wasn't really going to talk about this, but I talk about a lot of the reality TV, which is okay. But I said I need to start doing a little bit more because sometimes it does get a little boring with the reality TV. And honestly, I like the reality TV, but one thing I don't like, y'all, is recaps. I don't really like recaps. So I really only like to talk about the reality TV when it's something big to talk about. So I said I need to get more into the mainstream news per se. So I was like, okay, let's just talk about this guy, which I said I didn't really know very much about him, but now that I'm looking, I'm like, okay, that was his ass. Okay, I remember him now. But yeah, they said he has some very, very, controversial things to say about, George Floyd. And this is kind of, how he created his, his brand. So, I mean, it is.
So which reality show was he on? He was on The Bachelor or something?
No, I'm not saying he was on a reality show.
Oh, it was
Was
a
he?
separate person.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. If he was, I wouldn't be able to tell you. Like I said, I didn't know very much about this guy until recently, so I don't know much about him at all. Just wanted to, jump on here and kind of talk about the topic. But I know I had went to TikTok and we see a few of our occasionally crazy, Black people and on, YouTube. And I'm just like, it was some people. I said, now I hope this is just content. Y'all over here crying. Are y'all serious? Was this your cousin, your brother, your this man? Like, y'all.
And I don't want to bring up another YouTuber, but he put it a little good. He was just like, we don't care, Funky, because he was just like, this man, he went in on him yesterday.
I saw it.
I was like, he has his little ups and downs, but I was with him on that because I was just like, when a person is blatant, like we all have our own views, right? But you have to have discernment to know what to say in public. I feel like if you're a public figure, and even if you are conservative, to frame it in a right way where it's not hateful or it's not whatever.
So frame it in the right way. This man on the screen, he didn't give a damn. He
I think he was a troll, and his wife. I just think I'm from New York City. I think if I'm dating someone and they're a public figure, they already have a target on their back. So I'm always thinking of ways of, okay, do you have security detail? What's going on? What's the situation looking like? He was doing college speaking tours, and we know there's a lot of even if he was just a good person, there's mentally ill people that are just out here taking people out of here. You know what I'm saying? So,
and like I said, what Smart Cookie said, I don't know if it was before you joined, but what she said made a lot of sense. I think he was going around to these colleges to try to recruit people, to try to get them to think like him. Because I didn't even think about it until she said it. Because think about it. Why is he always going to these colleges? Like, what is the purpose? What are you doing?
Well, he's going to have a bad time with that because Gen Z actually, they're having an issue with the country altogether because they can't even afford, the cost of living. So nothing that Trump's administration is doing is going to help them. And I don't know if you saw this. You could look this up. The Gen Z, and this is why I got to give them their props because, us millennials, we was a little bit of the old school and the new school. But the millennials in Nepal overthrew and burned down their government due to corruption. So you're seeing a wave of a lot of countries around the world. They have riots in Paris right now. I think Serbia and a few other countries. A lot of people are tired because they're like, we're tired of the 1%, and these people not paying taxes, the Jeff Bezos and, the Elon Musk, people like that. People in other countries are like, hey, we can't even survive. Like, y'all are just going to have to get the hell out of here. And we had something similar on January 6th, but they did it for all the wrong reasons, as we all know. They were stupid enough to think that Trump was rigged when everybody knew that his election was rigged back in, 2016. He was a sore loser, so they went and tried to incite stuff. But like I said, back to what I was saying, there's a lot of stuff going on around the world where you're seeing massive shifts. And I think even white people are tired.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Because we are Americans. Like we live here because we are supposed to be a free country. Like it seems like Trump is trying to, first of all, it seems like he's trying to start a race war.
Yeah.
It seems like he's trying to, do that. And also it seems like he wants to be some kind of damn dictator. Well, this is America. People move here to America to be free. We don't want he needs to take his ass over there with Putin. This
Right.
is not the country for that. But
And
I
now-
believe he's trying to start a race war because he did I don't remember exactly when, but he had made a statement, and this is actually true. If there is a war, guess what, y'all? I don't know if y'all know this, but if there's a war, y'all know they can say, okay, we're not voting for president, right? So they're saying that he is going to possibly try to do that because he don't want to get his funky ass out of the White House. So they're trying to predict that he's going to try to do that because he really wants to sit there and not leave.
I saw something about that, but Lakeysha, you need to watch this guy. He's brilliant. I just discovered him yesterday. His name is Mehdi Hassan. He was just on the Breakfast Club, and he is this Indian guy, but he's from the UK, and he takes on like all these conservatives. And he was going in about how that can't really happen. Trump is what he's trying to do is he's trying to go around the Constitution in a lot of different ways, and he's trying to create his own rules. So I was just like, when we're looking at our country as a whole, it's disorganized because if he's doing things and there's no recourse, and I said this from his last election, I said this when I had a Facebook account, I said Trump is the living example of when you are a white man, you can just get away with anything.
Right. And it's like these people are sitting here acting like they are afraid. And I get it. He's the president now. I get, Kamala Harris, she lost. But Kamala, girl, your ass has been quiet. Stay quiet. You come out with a statement talking about we don't condone violence. I wanted to cuss her the fuck out. Girl, shut your ass up. We don't need you to tell us we don't condone violence. You've been quiet this whole time. We don't need you to stay quiet. You ain't got nothing to do with this. So
Well,
it's just like,
that's the argument that a lot of people have against the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party, the reason why there are defeats with them is that they keep trying to play too nice with the Republicans, or they try to take the higher road. And now we're seeing with the Republicans, no, you got to stand up to them. We need more Nancy Pelosi's. We need more Maxine Waters. We need more Ocasio-Cortez's. We need people that are going to stand up. But I also think about the Democratic Party, unfortunately, and I'm saying this as a Democrat. We're having a controversy here, even in New York, with this guy named what's his name? Richie. Let me look up his name. I'm sorry. He's the leader of the 15th district in New York. And what's happening, anyways, is that once they get these donations from certain people, they are told to shut up. So they come in very radical. They come in with the right frame of thinking. And then once they get a seat at the table, like as we saw with Hillary Clinton, she did not want to release those transcripts. So the Democratic, Richie Torres, thank you so much, Crystal Brown. He was exposed for getting all these donations from Israel. And, New York don't play that. New York is very free Palestine. So people was roasting him, saying that you are the congressional leader for the poorest district in the country. I found this out yesterday. New York City has the poorest in the richest congressional districts in this country. And they were roasting him because he got over, I believe, $500,000 worth of donations from AIPAC. So this is another thing that a lot of people are not understanding, that once people get a seat at the table and they get them checks start coming in, then they're like, oh, you know, we're not going to stand up.
Right.
And it's sort of sad.
Right. And also, too, I'm glad you brought that up. There is, and I'm going to probably have to go look that up. Did y'all know that YouTubers on YouTube, the ones with the larger platforms, I mean, you got some that have close to 1 million or a little bit over 1 million. Some of those people have been paid by the Trump administration. Did y'all know that? They got paid a lot of money, a lot of money. I gotta go. I should go look. That's what I should do. I think I'm gonna go research that. Yeah, but there are a host of YouTubers, and guess what? They're not all white, but some of them are black, where they come on and they're constant. I was just watching this guy today, and I looked at him. I said, I know he's a Trump supporter. As I started watching his content, I'm trying to figure out, like, I wonder, is he one of them? But yes, a lot of, I shouldn't say a lot, but a good number of people on YouTube, you constantly hear them supporting Trump. They have been paid. Now, I was listening to somebody, and when I say they have gotten paid, I mean millions of dollars, not like 300,000, millions of dollars. So they have gotten paid. So they continually create content supporting Trump. And see, the thing of it is when they're putting this stuff out there, people are listening to it and they think that it's truthful, but these people have been paid. Yes.
Exactly. And he's incentivizing things for them. Like, he's making tax cuts for the very rich. So you're getting these checks and he's like, okay, I can hook you up with my team, or I can point you in the right direction of where you can take all this money home. That's why this is why I cut out watching, I hate him, 50 Cent. 50 Cent was another person who came out subtly supporting Trump, and then he tried to backpedal. And it's so sad to see how people forget where they come from when they get a platform or they get a check. And at the end,
this is the thing, though. Don't mean to cut you off. This is the thing that really gets on my nerves, especially with these people that bring their raggedy asses to YouTube. YouTube is something that anybody can do. There's no qualification for YouTube. You just get your ass on here and you figure it out. Eventually, you'll grow your audience. So it's irritating to me when we get these idiots on YouTube and they build up their platform. But at the end of the day, this is still YouTube. So you still have to abide by the YouTube rules to be even on here. So you are not doing anything that somebody would not be able to do had not they just stuck to it. So it just be like, when I be seeing these people on YouTube, and I just be like, okay, you making a lot of money, but it's not like another person couldn't do it. Like, this is something that anybody can do. When I first started doing videos, I was like, okay, I'm just going to do the voiceovers because I was like, I don't want to go on camera. But as time goes on, you start doing other things. So it's just, when I be seeing people on YouTube thinking that they superstars, I'm like, well, then anybody can be a superstar because YouTube is for anybody. Like, yeah. And I see y'all put names in the chat. I believe he one of them, but it's a few more. And they are black. And it's so irritating to me because I'm going to tell y'all this. I wouldn't give a damn if I won the lottery and had $1 million. You would never see me support shit like that. I would never support that because guess why? I know where I came from. I know where my family still is. And I have ties to the shit that I got ties for. So there would be no amount of money that you could give me to make me flip-flop and be like, oh, I don't know what that is. I know exactly what the hell that is because I lived it. You know what I mean? So I don't understand that.
Well, Lakeysha, we also have to talk about a conversation that I think is very important as a Black man. And I want your views on this too. What about Chrisette Michelle when she did that performance for Donald Trump, how she was blacklisted by everybody, but people still F with Nelly, Snoop, and 50 Cent and all these other people. So I'm trying to find out why our community has this selective outrage towards who we pick and choose. We're gonna like cancel. This is why I don't really have I have a Twitter account that's like a burner Twitter account just to see videos. But these people will take stuff that you said from 2010 and witch hunt and roast you and stuff like that. And I get it, because some people said some really egregious things. But I just think it's crazy how I like how Janelle Monáe held she held Nelly accountable when she was roasting him in that freestyle. Did you see that?
I don't think I saw it.
You got to look that up. Janelle Monáe was freestyling to "It's Getting Hot in Here" in front of Nelly and roasted the shit out of him. And it was funny as hell. But we pick and choose who we want to back down from. And I think it's crazy how Black men are given carte blanche when they become Trump supporters. And I get it. Y'all want to get a little tax cuts, but you guys come from the hood. Like, I don't understand that. I could never, coming from the Bronx. Yeah.
Here's my deal. I don't believe, like, people can be Democrat and Republican, be what you want. This is what you need to understand. Trump is a racist. That's the part that you need to understand. So this has nothing to do for me with Democrat and Republican. He's trying to take the damn Black people back to picking cotton. Like, what do y'all not understand about this? He done fired or tried to attempt to fire every Black person that was in big positions within the government, just like this last lady he tried to fire. This is a continual thing. Now, how do you look at that and say, I'm going to support some shit like that? Because I'm going to be honest, sometimes I want to be a Republican, but I could never support Donald Trump. Now, if it was somebody else in there, I may say, okay, I'm gonna do Republican. I could never support nothing like that. I could never support him. He's a racist.
Well, Lakeysha, I want to say to you, just to jog your mind with this, I get that. I get your argument about it's not Democrat, Republican, but I want to just go deeper. They've always felt like this, and they use being a Republican as a cloak, as nationalism, as patriotism. I was going in yesterday on my Instagram stories talking about when these people walk around waving American flags, they might as well be wearing the KKK hoodies.
Right.
But now they're doing it in a different way. They're doing it with patriotism. They're doing it with nationalism. And we all know what it means. So I just forewarn you that that party is really, they're using that as a disguise to really cloak their real agenda. And I'm not saying one party is better than the other. I don't think that we should have a two-party system personally, but this is what they're just saying conservative, but conservative is now I'm racist,
right? If
that makes sense.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is.
And a lot of times when you ask people on the right, what is their real reasons for being conservative, they cannot tell you an answer unless they're rich. And a lot of times, even the rich won't even tell you that it's for tax cuts. So I don't think there's any authenticity in anything surrounding their agenda. And I call them out because I'm thankful I live in New York City, where it's super liberal and people call them out too. Even white people call them out. Right. But it's a hot mess. And they really want us to go back to when things were in segregation.
Right. Now, Queen of Reed says, just because you're a political party affiliation doesn't mean you have to agree with everyone in that party. And I agree. But where the thing with Donald Trump, for me, it's not a whether I agree or disagree, because for me, he is a racist. So because I feel this man is a racist, there's nothing, like, for me, he's a no. Now, if I felt like Donald Trump wasn't a racist, then what you're saying would apply, because guess what? You are not going to agree with everything any political party say. But if I feel like you're a racist, now I feel like everything you do is going to be against certain people. And that is what I feel about Donald Trump. So for me with Donald Trump, he don't like Black folks. And that's just how I feel about him. So therefore, I just couldn't do it if I wanted to.
And to Queen of Reeds, I want to address that really quickly. I think that this conservative movement now, towards what Lakeysha is saying, it's really promoting racism and nationalism. It's promoting xenophobia, racism, a lot of different things, and it's giving them an excuse to do it. Right. It's giving an excuse for them to come out and do it, because they've been hiding in the closet with it for forever.
Right.
And some places in the deep South, they could openly do it, but as a country, they couldn't get away with it. Now Trump has given them a face, and I feel like that's
Right.
why I question anybody that calls themselves a conservative, because I'm like, okay, if you are a conservative, give me some bullet points of why you are.
Right.
And most of them can't. Most of them can't even tell you his policies that actually benefit them.
Also, are you guys familiar with this latest thing that they just did where they can stop you, ask you questions based on the color of your skin? I said, this is just taking me all the way out. Did y'all
What are
know
you talking
about
about with
that?
ICE?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
So before where, it nothing is supposed to be related to color. Well, now as it relates to ICE, they can be like, oh, there's a Mexican or that I'm gonna stop you just because. They can do that. So what
Right.
the hell is that? Like, why? How are we stopping people based on the color, how they look? Like, are you kidding me? Like, this is crazy. Like, why would you, as a president, want that to be the basis for you stopping somebody?
Well, also, Lakeysha, we talked about this on the other live. They are threatened that they are not the highest growing population. We know that Latinos are going to, they're going to supersede everybody in terms of population. They said across the world, birth rates are at the lowest, I think, it has ever been. And that's partly due to the fact that people can't afford anything.
Right.
So Latinos are still having babies. They are still, getting it in and doing what they got to do, even if they don't have their papers or whatever like that, they're still populating. And that's what they're threatened by. They're threatened by sanctuary cities. Like, I live in New York City. This was a city for a long time that protected them. But we saw what Eric Adams, I don't know if you're familiar with him. Eric Adams was our mayor, and then he got caught up in that fraud case. Then he started chummy with Trump to get out of that. So we see a lot of corruption that is basically here in this country. And if you align yourself with him, you can do whatever and you can get pardoned. Like that white guy, I think that's supposed to be getting out of jail for doing that tax thing, him and his wife.
Okay.
You know who I'm talking about? You know who I'm talking about, Lakeysha?
I don't, but I want to share y'all this video right here. So also too, is important to understand that things are going to the Supreme Court. Y'all know that those people on the Supreme Court are all buddies, with Trump. I know we have
Yeah.
is it Ketanji? I think she was a Biden, or was she Biden, or was she Obama appointee? I don't remember, but this new rule that has went to the Supreme Court, it is pretty much allowing these people to be racist. Y'all, let's get into this video right here.
This week, the U.S. Supreme Court issued a decision that clears the way for racial profiling during immigration raids and sweeps. Now we could see the Trump administration rapidly expand the racially discriminatory ICE practices that we've already seen terrorizing families, workplaces, and communities around the country. Thanks to the Supreme Court, these raids are now more likely to sweep in U.S. citizens and people with lawful status. So what was the decision and what did it say? Well, in a 6-3 vote in the case known as Vázquez-Perdomo v. Nome, the Supreme Court granted an emergency request from the Trump administration to temporarily halt a Los Angeles judge's order limiting the use of so-called roving patrols. These patrols had been snatching people off of California streets and questioning them based on how they look, what language they speak, what work they do, or even where they happen to be. Both the Los Angeles Federal Court and the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals had ruled that these actions amounted to illegal racial profiling. But on Monday, the Supreme Court issued a brief, unsigned order that overturned those decisions for now. This gives immigration agents a green light to once again stop anyone that they guess to be here illegally, even if a central reason for the stop was race. This endorses ICE and Border Patrol targeting any Latino they observe in Los Angeles, speaking Spanish or working in a low-income job, and then demanding their papers. Justice Sotomayor, one of the 3 justices who dissented, raised a clear alarm in her dissent. She warned that the decision risks turning Latinos into second-class citizens. In her words, we should not have to live in a country where the government can seize anyone who looks Latino, speaks Spanish, and appears to work a low-wage job. Rather than stand idly by while our constitutional freedoms are lost, I dissent. Now, crucially, this order is not a final ruling, but it does strongly signal that the Supreme Court will not uphold strict constitutional limits on the authority of immigration agents to stop and question people that they suspect to be immigrants. As the Trump administration ramps up immigration raids in other cities like Chicago, we can expect federal agents to be emboldened by this decision. Concerns that U.S. citizens and lawfully present immigrants may be stopped and questioned on the basis of race is already leading people to avoid public events like the upcoming Mexican Independence Day celebrations in Chicago. With ICE being given the green light to once again target Latinos, it is more important now than ever that Americans stand up, make their voices heard, and send the message that this is not the country that we want to be.
Y'all heard it, so, they can stop you. And, well, y'all, I'm about to end this here. Y'all got any more? What y'all putting in the chat?
I was gonna say I agree with you. We saw this coming, and I think it's crazy that the Latinos for Trump voted for this.
Right.
But I think it would be funny if people, like, I think New York would do something like this. We would intentionally start speaking Spanish and then sue the government on purpose for, like, actually locking up actual citizens or people born here. So I think you got to fight back at them with very strategic tactics. And also, who I love, who I was going to bring up earlier, Lakeysha, Gavin Newsom, how he was fighting back against Trump. Yeah.
I like him. Yeah, I like him because so what I've learned too, and I learned this from watching him, Trump, the shit that Trump is doing, all you got to do is reverse it on him. They said Trump was going crazy. Gavin was trolling his ass, doing everything. And guess what? It helped his following because everybody is running to, see who he is, because I was like,
right.
Newsom. Oh, I like him. So he was trolling the hell out of Trump. But the difference to him and Trump is the shit he was saying was true. Trump just makes up stuff. Like, he lies.
Yeah.
This guy was presenting hard facts.
And he goes straight to Twitter, unlike any other president, without getting clearances or finding out if it's true or not. Like when he was cursing out the news when he found out that Israel and Iran didn't really come to a ceasefire. That was hilarious as hell. And you know who else is good too? Nancy Pelosi. I miss her. Remember when she told him he could not have the State of Senate address because he shut down the government, and she told him it would be a security breach if the government was shut down. So he had to reopen the government, and he was embarrassed.
I don't remember that. I don't.
It was funny as hell. Nancy Pelosi used to find any loophole to, like, counter him with, and it was hilarious. So she made him reopen the government, and it was hilarious. So
I don't remember, but thank you for joining here.
Definitely. It's always a good time talking with you.
All right. See you later. See y'all later.